African leaders are meeting in Addis Ababa for an annual summit aiming to jumpstart a faltering trade deal while also focusing on the continent's most pressing challenges, which include armed conflict and a worsening food crisis. The Senegalese president, handing over the presidency of the Union to his successor, the Comoros president, called on the United Nations to finance counter-terrorism operations on the continent.
J'appelle instamment.
We demand the implementation of decisions of Malabo Summit 2022, the activation of the African Force, the creation of unity against terrorism, and financing in a serious way to combat terrorism. This resistance emanating from 77th session of the United Nations Council meeting.
The two-day African Union meeting in Ethiopia seeks to address issues such as a record drought in the Horn of Africa and deadly violence in the Sahel region and the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Terrorism and insecurity are worsening and there are more conflicts. I'm deeply concerned by the rise in violence by armed groups recently observed in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and by the progress of terrorist groups in Sahel and elsewhere.
Accelerating a free trade pact launched in 2020 is one goal of this summit. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement is billed as the biggest in the world in terms of population, gathering 54 of 55 African countries, with Eritrea the only holdout.
Nous devons, comme vous l'avez confié, accélérer.
We're required to expedite the embodiment of the AFCFTA Free Trade Zone. We place a lot of hopes on it. In the year 2021, our organization launched custom solutions to our problems, thanks to the African Union Summit on Economic Diversification, as well as the Extraordinary Summit on AFCFTA.
The Arab League is an important partner of the African Union and is also counting on the realization of the project of the African Arab Trade Exchange Area as soon as possible.
We aspire to raise the level of Arab and African cooperation and integration, especially since there is a project to develop an Arab-African free trade zone in the Joint Arab-African Action Plan. We need to continue and intensify work in the next stage.
The 36th session of the African Union Summit carried the hopes of Africans to embody real cooperation with the Arab countries as partners sharing most of the political and economic positions.